sort of fun every day by creating something. This is a place where I will share my creative adventures with you. We will talk about knitting and crafting, gardening and cooking, food preservation and building projects, and so much more. If this sounds good to you, let's get right to this week's creative adventures together. So as September starts and we look at the new school season, I always feel a little bit nostalgic for things of the past. And tomorrow I recognize will be my last first day of elementary school as a mom of an elementary school kid. And I just wanted to take a moment to go back and look at some memory quilts I've made. This one is one I made for James many years ago. And it is t-shirts of his that I've just cut up and joined together. I didn't do any quilting on them because the pieces are quite small. So when I actually just quilted them together, pieced them together, there was enough sewing to keep the pieces together. But today I'm working on a new project. So as you can see, these are all of James's old jerseys from hockey for the last 10 or 12 years, and I've decided to make them into a quilt for him. And I'm going to show you here what I've done. I've taken each quilt or jersey piece and I've cut it out in the same size square. I've put a piece of quilting batting behind it, and then this really cute zebra stripes, like sort of a referee reference, on the back of each piece. And then I've gone around and I'm showing you here with my finger, I'm outlining where I've done some quilting on each piece just to hold the fabric together. And then I've actually started putting the rows together. I'll show you how I do that. I've got this black flannel that I've cut into strips, and I put two strips together, so I've got to get all the wrinkles out. And then I put two strips together right on top of each other as best as I can here. And I draw, once they're together, I draw a straight line down the center and I sew along that line. You can see the line there. And then I ended up with two pieces that are sewn together with a top and a bottom on each left and right. And I come in there, this is difficult with one hand, but I come in there and I make a 1/4 inch hem on the bottom and I iron that down. And then I do the same thing on the top. I'll iron that down and they'll match each other. So I've got myself a little bit like an envelope, and you'll see that I put this sort of this sleeve of black flannel over the edge of the jersey that I've cut out. And once it's pinned on the top and the bottom, I just go ahead and sew right down, hoping to catch the top and the bottom piece of that sleeve in the first pass. It doesn't always happen. And then you see the individual strips of black flannel hold together each jersey piece. And so far I have 3 rows done of 6.
And that's my t-shirt quilt update. I hope you enjoy it. Being out here in the garden on these sunny mornings is one of my favorite places to be. I get to wake up and the sound of the birds. Not sure if you can hear them. And come out and see what's happened overnight. I really love the exploration in my garden. I started vegetable gardening in 2001 when I bought my first house here in Ajax. It was a new build, and the builder had just put grass down in the backyard, and I decided to tear it up and put a vegetable garden in. And so that was my first adventures in vegetable gardening. It wasn't very successful that year, and I didn't really get into it until we moved houses again into Toronto, and we had a beautiful garden in that house. And I put some cucumbers in, and it was just a wonderful way to watch as my very young children got to be involved in watching the garden grow. And then when we moved to this house in Ajax, shortly after that, we realized that there was an irrigation system, an existing vegetable garden, and I really went to town enjoying getting my hands dirty and growing some food and learning what I could. And so now we're about, I think, 14 years later, something like that, and still really enjoying the existing vegetable garden. I do wish it was a little bit different, but that's what you learn over time when you're gardening. Very grateful for our irrigation system because it means I'm a hands-off gardener. I just get to plant it and fertilize it and enjoy it. I do weed it every once in a while, but I'm going to do a little garden tour here and you'll see I don't stay on top of my weeds. Here we go, let's go on a tour. So we have a few areas that we garden in. One is up here on our top deck, and I just have a lot of planters up here. So often in here I put a lot of herbs and smaller growing plants. You can see my nasturtium has just flowered in there. It's beautiful. I've got some herbs growing in there, and of course the dog is right by my side. This is a fall planted pumpkin, and if you look closely you can see that my dogs love to eat the pumpkin plant leaves. And so when we get to the next pumpkin plant, I'll show you what we've done to try and eliminate the dog problem. We have lots of herbs in here. We've been harvesting off of this all summer. I often come in here in the morning. One of my favorite things to do is just take the little tops off the basil, make sure it stays tasting good so it doesn't bolt. And then my hands smell like basil for a little while, which is wonderful. This is my mint, which of course you never want to plant in the ground because it will grow everywhere. And this is my first year growing bay leaf. So I'm going to transplant that. Those roots showing is a bad thing, but we'll get it potted up and brought in. And this is our our pumpkin prison. Because if we didn't do this, the dogs would be eating all of these glorious leaves. So a few weeks ago, I noticed this beautiful fruit here, and I decided that since our last frost, or our frost date is October 10th, there wasn't much other fruit on here, so I wanted to encourage this fruit to grow. And so since then, I've been pinching off all the flowers that are growing on here, trying to send all the energy into that fruit. So let's see if I can see any more, if I've done a decent job taking the flowers off. Yeah, so this is just putting all of its energy into this guy here. So he looks a little yellow right now, which is totally normal. He will orange up as the season goes on, and as the vines die off before the frost, he will orange up. And if he's not completely orange by the time the frost comes, I'll take him off of the plant and I'll bring him out here in the sunshine, and he will orange up during the summer. And this is our main veggie garden area. These 4 planters had potatoes in them all season, and they were prolific. They were so huge. They were to the height of the fence there. They were wonderful. I've already harvested them. We've eaten them. We've made potato bread from them. They were fantastic. I did a fall planting of, this is zucchini in that one. We'll see if anything comes of it. It's got 5 weeks still. It could happen. If those flowers happen now, then it won't take long for zucchini to grow. We'll see. And these are that's oregano in the corner and some tomato plants. None of my tomato plants that I planted have actually done very well this year. I do have one volunteer tomato back there past the squash. That's been fantastic though. This whole area back here against the wall was all potatoes, and it was fantastic. It was huge. And this area was all onions, and that's all been harvested and taken out for the year. They were lovely. And when I harvested them, it meant that this beautiful squash could then take over, do its thing, spread out, and we have got some lovely surprises hiding in here for us for later in the season when we get into harvesting. Where are they? There's a couple in there. And these squash are looking great. And you can see it's actually started to change a little bit of the color there. It's starting to orange up, which is exactly what we want. And I have also been taking the fruit off of these, or the flowers off of these, because with just 5 weeks left, there is no time for anything new to grow into anything we can harvest and eat. And this is my ever-bearing rhubarb, and if I give it a few more weeks, we will have lots more rhubarb to make lots more goodies. And here is my volunteer tomato, which has just been doing wonderful things.
And here are a couple pictures of our glorious potato harvests. We pulled them out in a couple goes, so there's a couple rounds of this. And I just wanted to show you what it looks like when you have brand new potatoes and you wash them before they get cured. You can actually just rub them and the skin will peel off, which is fine if that's what you want to have for eating right away. But if you want to store them, you need to let them dry out in a dark, cool space, dry space, and let the skins harden and toughen up a little bit before you store them. I didn't do that with these, but I will be doing that with the next set of potatoes that I harvest from our second garden. And here you can see our lovely onions. They were fantastic. I was so pleased with them, but I really did need to get them out of the ground before they matured because the squash was just taking over and they were gonna die and rot if they didn't have the sunshine. So I pulled them early. This is what we got. They are about the size of a small lime, maybe a medium lime. So they were decent size for being pulled early. I was happy with them. Next year they will have their own dedicated space in the garden.
So that's our vegetable garden update from here. We have so many more gardens that we can talk about, and I'll do that in a different episode. We have our side pepper and squash garden. We have our front flower garden, which I'm just so pleased with. It's nasturtiums and cosmos and straw flowers and dahlias. I'm so pleased with them. And of course we have the whole garden, beautiful garden over at Christie's in Pickering that we'll be working on soon because stuff's got to come out of the ground and into our kitchen. So that's my garden update for now. And that leads us to my knitting update. And right now I am knitting a Choose Your Canadiana by Grey Owl Knits. She did hers in lots of colors. There's lots of options on her Ravelry page. I've decided to do mine in a red base with white motifs, and I'll put some pictures in here. And I'm really pleased with it. I'll show you some updates. The yarn I'm using is Shell Ridge. She's a local artist, and I'm just so happy with her yarn.
So here's a picture of the inspiration that I used for my colors, and this is me wearing mine. I don't know if I made this point or not, but the original pattern has about 30 or 40 charts in it, and you pick your own charts that will go into your sweater. So that's why it's choose your own. And each of the charts has a Canadian theme to it. And so these are the ones I've picked. There's some hockey and skating references. There's Toronto Maple Leafs. There's Maple Leafs and canoes and canoe paddles. There's a moose. And right now I'm working on a lighthouse. And I think I've got one more motif to go before I finish what I've done. And then I just wanted to end by showing you guys a few of the things from my week that have made me smile, and I hope they make you smile too.
Good morning. It is Labor Day Monday, and I don't know if this happens to you, but it happens to me all the time. On mornings I don't have to get up, I get up bright and early. And on mornings I do have to get up, I struggle to get out of the bed. This is one of my favorite places to be when the sun's coming up. I bring my knitting outside with my coffee, just sit on the deck, watch the sun come up over the garden. That's a wrap on episode 1 of Christy Creates Every Day. Thanks for making it this far in the video. It's been fun to learn how to do this. I've never done it before, as Christy just reminded me, and it's been fun. Hopefully there'll be an episode 2 next week, and maybe you'll be here to join me. I sure hope so. Bye!